Next game in queue is the 1969 Midway Whirlybird. So this is going to be a full restore. A lot of these games, the paint just peels right off them. Not much left on there as far as artwork. And somebody looks like they cut the top here to try to get it through a doorway, so that'll have to be repaired. But first things first, what I'm going to do to start is break it down. So we'll get all the parts off the cabinet, and then we'll get it stripped to bare wood, get all that paint off of there, and then start repairing the cabinet. So let me get some work done and I'll catch back up with you. Okay, I have the cabinet broken down on the Whirlybird. So now we can start the cabinet repairs. Okay, so we have the cab out. We're gonna strip it to bare wood and get it ready for the cab repairs. So let's get this paint off of here. Okay, so we got the paint stripped off the cabinet. And we're ready to move on. I'm going to start working on where the cabinet was cut on both sides. I guess they did this to get it through a doorway. So I'm going to put that back the way it was. You'll never know it was cut. Interesting note, the paper tag on the cabinet had serial number 1528, and that's the paper label goes over top of that pencil mark with the same number, but the stamp on the cabinet is 1630. Interesting. I don't know why that would be. So definitely, nobody changed the paper tag because it's got the pencil mark underneath it, the same number as the paper tag. Oh well. All right, so I have to strip the all the mechanisms off the back door so I can get that stripped to bare wood and finish the cab. So let's get this knocked out. All right, I now have all the parts off the back door. So we're gonna start stripping paint and get this ready to fit back in the cabinet and get that cut off top repaired. So let's move on. All right, so now we have the paint removed off the back door, and let's get it fitted to the cab and get that where it was cut in half, get that repaired. The bottom of these games is like a particle board. So I put a nice protective coating on it, and that'll protect it from peeling. And we got the nylon sliders on it. So let's move on to get the cabinet repaired where it's cut, and then I'll follow up with that. Okay, today we're going to work on fixing this cabinet where it was cut in half to get through a doorway, apparently. So it's both sides, it's sawed off right there at the top of the decking there. So we're gonna start the repairs on that, and I'll show you how we're gonna do that. All right, so we have the top separated, and we're gonna get the domino out and start routering some holes for the dowels and get this put back together here. So we took the Festool domino, and we have the cuts made for the dominoes to go in, so we'll be doing that next. So we have the dominoes just set in place. I just did a test fit on it and everything fits good. So let's get this glued up and marry it together, and then start working on getting it clamped and squared, and do all the measurements to make sure it's aligned properly before everything sets up. All right, so we have it put back together. I clamped it and then I put those braces back on the sides just to hold it until the glue dries. And then we have nailers in the front just to hold the proper distance in the front until the glue dries with the dowels. And once that dries, we should be good to go. All right, so we're starting the preliminary body repairs. So we're just filling in the major gaps right now. And we'll flip this over, do the other side, and then we can start the serious body work. Okay, we got the first sanding done on the body work. So the major stuff is fixed. We just have to go around and fine tune everything now. So I'll continue on and update you probably tomorrow. All right, we just got the Whirlybird cabinet in primer. So all the body work is done. It's in primer. I just have to go through and get all the blemishes, the small imperfections out, and we can start thinking about paint. And here we are in primer. We'll let that dry overnight and then we'll start getting it ready for paint, do the final sanding and final blemishes. So getting close to paint. We got some paint on the inside of the back door. Just wanted to get that going so it would dry and we can do the outside. There's still some speckling that needs to go on there, but I'll worry about that when I do the outside. All right, working on the blemishes on the cabinet to get it ready for paint. This is the part that's a real pain in the neck. You go through all that work on the cabinet and you think you have it, and then put it under a light and you can see how many, blemishes are in it. There's the back door, same way. So still got, a day's worth of work here, and we'll get it ready for paint. I was hoping to get it in paint today, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. All right, so I was able to get the blemishes sanded and the base color on. So that was a full day's worth of work right there. So we'll let that dry, and then we'll start working on the stencils to get the artwork on it. And so it's coming along. It's looking really good. Okay, so we got some stencil work done today. I have the red on the left side, the front, and the right side. So now we're moving on to the white stencils. Okay, just finished the stencil work. So all the colors are on. I have some spatter to put on it yet, but I'll do that tomorrow. So art is pretty much finished, except for that. And I'll have that done tomorrow. That'll be the easy part. These stencils, they look simple, but this is not an easy stencil to do. Came out good though, I'm happy with it. Okay, so we have the cabinet on the ground. We're getting ready to put the legs on it. So we're gonna get it up on its legs and get it safe, get it up off the ground, and be able to start refurbing some parts to start putting back on the machine. Okay, so the game is back on its legs. Starting to show some life back in it after being in storage for many, many years. All right, let's move on to the next piece. All right, getting ready to start the coin door and the control panel. It's your typical coin door. It's for its age, it's not bad. I don't know if you can see, kicked in a little bit by the lock. So that'll all have to be straightened. And the metals are showing some corrosion. The back isn't too bad. Needs some cleaning up and some work done back there. So I'll start with this one, and then along with it, the control panel. It's a little crusty, but that's how they are. It's not a new game. All right, so let me get some work done on this and then I'll follow up. All right, so we have the coin door disassembled and we're ready to start fixing the dents. You see the edge here, it's pried in where somebody stuck a screwdriver in there, tried to open it up, steal a couple dimes. But there's the dent I'm working with, right on the flat part by the lock right there. So let me work on that, I'll be right back. All right, we're gonna start working the dents out of this coin door. That edge came out pretty good. Now, let's start working the flats up here. All right, so we got this pretty straight. Getting ready to, we're gonna sandblast this now, get it ready for primer and a little bit of body work. So sandblast, a little bit of body work, and then put it in primer and get it ready for paint. We now have the frame and the coin door sandblasted. So we're ready to start doing the body work on here and get that ready for primer. So let me continue on. I now have the body work done and it's in primer. So we'll let this dry overnight and then we'll scuff it up and put some color on it tomorrow. All right, so we have the paint on the coin door and the coin door frame. We're gonna continue on with the mechanics that go inside the door. We're gonna get those restored, and when that's done, we'll put it back together and get it installed in the game. So we'll let this dry while we're working on the other stuff. All right, we're getting ready to put in the speaker. So we're gonna put this the protective speaker screen in first, then the speaker. I have all the parts, the harness and everything refurbished in these boxes here. So we're getting ready to put the harness in and a bunch of wire looms and all that kind of stuff in the bottom cab. But let's get the speaker in first and then I'll catch up with you. All right, so we have the brand new screen installed, protective screen, and we're gonna grab the speaker now and put a new speaker in it. Here's the original speaker. It's pretty crusty and it's got a break in it. So we're just gonna replace it with a new one. Could probably super glue that together and it would work, but I'm not gonna mess with it. You know, it's old enough that no reason not to put a new one in there. And we have the new speaker wire and the new speaker installed. So we're moving on to more parts out of the boxes that are prepped, and we'll get the harness in and some other things. So I want to get the coin door going too. Get that finished, get that installed so I can start working on the control panel down here. And once those two items go in, this thing's really going to start to look like something. It's always fun to get to this stage and parts start going back on a new cabinet. So it's going to come right along. And then we have the light that goes up in there that we'll be installing. So I'll catch back up when I get something else done. Okay, so we're back on the Whirlybird, and we're going to start with the bottom wiring harness on the bottom of the cab. So this has already been cleaned, but I still have to do the Jones plugs, and I always put a new on and off switch, so we'll be putting a new switch on there. So let's get to it. Okay, we have a new on and off switch installed. So let's finish the harness and get it in the cabinet. All right, so I got the one harness installed for the coin door. And it runs back to the speaker, and then we'll connect to the back door and the new toggle switch. So let's move on to the next thing. All right, now I'm working on the fluorescent light. So I got new wire to run up through the cabinet. I now have the control panel disassembled, everything taken apart, ready to sandblast this and get it in primer and paint. So let's get to that stage, and I'll catch up when I get something else done. Okay, I just got finished sandblasting the control housing. So we'll get this in primer now and let that dry, and then start thinking about paint. All right, I have the control box in primer. So let's let this dry and we'll get ready for paint. And we now have paint on the control box. So we'll let this dry, start refurbishing the parts that go on it, and we'll get this put back together. Just finished the instruction plate. This is a nice original. I was able to restore it and preserve it, so that's always your best option when restoring these games. All right, I almost have the control box and the coin door parts all restored and ready to be put back together. I got boards full of parts, boxes full of parts that they're almost done. I still got a little more work to do on some fasteners to polish them up, but almost ready to start putting it back together. Okay, we have all the parts restored for the control box. So we're gonna start putting this one together first. So let me get some parts on there, and then I'll catch back up. All right, I just about have the control box ready to install. So all the mechanics have been redone. I got the grips to put on. And I have a NOS pair of original grips, so they'll be going on. That'll make a nice addition to this. So let's get the grips on, and then I'll show you the final result. All right, and here we have the control box completely put together. I still have some adjustments to do once it's in the game, but big difference from where we started. All right, so that's a day's worth of work just putting that back together. So let's get it in the game, and I'll show you it installed in the game once I get that finished. All right, I have the control box mounted to the cabinet, and the wiring is hooked up. So let's put the cover on, and that'll be done, and we'll move on to the coin door over here. All right, we have the control box finished. The cover's on. And we're gonna move on to the coin door. So let's get moving on that. Okay, we have the parts all restored to put the coin door back together. So we're gonna start that now. I just got done putting the coin door back together. So that's the front side. Let me flip it over and show you the back side. And here's the back side. So this is ready to be installed in the cabinet along with the control panel. And we have the coin door installed. Turned out nice, so we're gonna move on to the next thing. All right, so a little bit of a setback here. I started installing the glass, and two sides are really nice. They're perfect. The front glass has some marks in it, so it's not going to pass. And I'll have to order a new piece for that. So, and it's just, I don't know, there's something like, if you can see it, there's some marks right in the line of sight right there. So it's not like a small scratch on the outside or anything. It's right where you're going to see it, and it's really going to take away from the game. So we'll get a new piece in there. All right, getting ready to install the back glass. This is a nice original. Took some very minor touch up on it, so I didn't see any point in making a new one. Since if you can preserve anything original, you know, I think you're better off. So we're gonna get ready to install that in the cabinet, and that's what I'll be doing next. Okay, so we have the back glass installed and ready to move on to the next thing. All right, we have the Playfield on the rack, so we're getting ready to start this. And first thing is to break it down, and then I'll catch up when I get something done. Okay, I have the copter body off. I still have some parts to take off and some repairs to be made. It's pretty common that they're broken up here because that's what supports it to the boom. But I want to get the skids off and the whiskers off, and then that'll give me a clean palette to start repairing the copter body. It's got a unique color. It's like a candy apple metallic. We'll have to match that. So let's continue on with the rest of the Playfield. Okay, so I have the copter body broken down. The skids are off. The whiskers are off. It's down to bare plastic now, so we can start, after the Playfield's done, we'll start working on this and get this repaired. All right, been working on the color for the helicopter. Want to get that matched before I do any repairs. So we're getting real close here. All right, so now we're working under the Playfield, and we're putting all new light sockets in. So let's get those replaced and get these parts underneath refurbished, and then the bottom will be done. Okay, we have the bottom finished now. So I'll flip this over and show you the top, how far I got along on the top here. So give me 1 second. Okay, so here's the top finished. As far as I can go for right now, I still have the copter body to fix and the copter boom to restore. So I can't finish this until I get those done. So I'm gonna put this in the cabinet for now, just since everything's polished and clean. That way it doesn't get dusty. So we're gonna stick it in the cabinet, and I'll be right back and show you that. Okay, so we have the Playfield in the cabinet. Like I say, that's just for protection for now, to keep it clean, since it's already been polished and everything. I'll work on the copter body next, and the copter body boom and counterweight. And once I get those done, I can finish the Playfield, and then we can start on the back door. The back door is going to be the final piece. Okay, I've been working on this copter body all morning. I have the plastic welded up, and I got some sanding on it, and I'm ready to put it in primer, and then we'll do some sanding and get it ready for paint. Okay, so we have the body in primer. All the body work's done. Let this dry overnight. We'll sand it down, and then we'll start putting paint on it tomorrow. Okay, we're working on the parts for the copter, and we're right now doing a motor rebuild. So I'm starting to take that apart, get that rebuilt. I have the whiskers refurbished, and I have the skid and the motor mounting block restored. That's drying right now, so I'll start putting this together, then I'll show you where I'm at. Okay, we have the motor rebuilt and it's time to start putting it back together. So let me get it together and I'll show you the result. All right, here's the motor put back together. So we're ready to put it in the copter body. So let's do that next. All right, here's the copter body semi put together. I still have to test the motor on the bench, but I just want to mock it up to make sure everything's gonna fit right. Not really nice. All right, so we're getting ready to start the back door mechanisms and the scoring unit. So let me get started on this and I'll catch up when I get something done. Okay, we're making some progress on the back door. We have the first mech board refurbished and ready to be put back together. The transformer is refurbished and the outlet, that's about as far as I've got. So let's put this together and I'll show you what it looks like done. Okay, so I have this section finished now. This coil bank, the tilt and the bell. I had to order a plunger for the bell because the one that was in it is broken. I thought I had one here, but it's too long. I could cut it down, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get a new one. So just need to put that in, and then here's the restored coil bank. So I'm going to move on to the fuse block, these Jones plugs, and the power cord. Okay, so we had some parts arrive, so we can continue on here. This whole coil bank's done, these Jones plugs, that power supply. I'm going to rebuild the soundboard right now, and then final thing will be the score reels. So let's get to it. All right, just finished the service switch, this coil bank, Jones plugs, power supply, and the soundboard. So last thing to do now is the score reels. All right, we got a brand new coil plunger for the bell. So let's get that installed and move on to the score reels. All right, we have the plunger installed. Okay, last thing now, score reels. Okay, working on the score reels. I have them almost broken down. Everything's off. I got the galvanized plate over here. I'm just cleaning that, and these need to be broken down yet and refurbished. So, in the motor, but we're getting there. Okay, this table's almost finished. I have the score reel disconnected from the harness here because that's broken down. That's on a separate board. I'll show you that in a minute, but this is pretty much done. The motor's restored, so that's ready to go. I got one little thing to do to the soundboard. I got the potentiometers on the table there to go in the soundboard, and the power cord to replace this janky little thing here, but I'm pretty sure air compressor kicked off, but the power cord goes through a hole in the door, so I don't want to put that on yet, because if I solder it on here, I won't be able to fit it through the hole, because I got to do it with the soldered in. So let me show you the score reels where we're at with that. Okay, here's one half. This is one side, so this is all broken down, ready to be restored. I haven't done anything to it yet other than tear it apart and inventory it. So there's one side. Let me show you the other. Okay, and here's the other side broken down. So let me get to restoring these and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. So everything's gonna get cleaned up. I'll be right back. Okay, and here's everything from the back door all broken down. So we're going to clean these now, refurbish the score reel units, and we can start putting it back together. And here's the galvanized brackets for the score unit. They're all restored, ready to have the parts put back on. Okay, I got one half of the scoring unit finished, and it's ready to go on the galvanized bracket. So let's mount this, and then, well, I can't mount it yet. I'm going to get the other side done first, and then we'll start mounting everything up, because there's couplers that go in between, and so it's got to be done in sequence. So let me continue on. Okay, I got the second score reel unit finished, so I can start getting ready to put these on the galvanized bracket. And here's both units together, finished. So let's get these on the galvanized bracket, then I can mount these in the cabinet. And I have the score reels and score motor attached to the galvanized mounting plate. So we're going to put this in the cabinet now. I'll be right back. Okay, so we got the score unit put together, and we have it mounted in the cabinet. All right, so we'll start working, finishing up the rest of the harness there, and start thinking about getting that attached to the back door. And here's the front. All right, we're moving along here. This game's turning the corner, so it won't be long now. This will be finished. Okay, just about completely finished with this back door harness. One last thing to do is I just got in new parts, so I'm gonna replace the potentiometer on the soundboard. The original's testing bad. So let's put this new one in, and we should be good to go. Okay, so I got the sound potentiometer installed. So this is completely ready to go back on the back door. So that's what we'll be doing next. It's got paper labels to go on the back door, this harness, and the scenery. So let's move on with that. Also had new glass show up today for the cabinet, so that's good. That'll keep us moving forward. Okay, getting ready to put the mechanisms on the back door. I got this done before I do that, so got the paper labels installed in the proper places. So let's continue on the back door. Okay, so we're ready to put the mechanics on the back door. We have the back door set up, and we're gonna put everything on here, and hopefully get everything mounted today. Okay, so I have the mechanisms attached to the back door and the paper labels. So now it's time. I have to put the hinges on the door here in the upper and lower corners, and then I can attach it to the cabinet. And then I'm going to put the scenery on once the door is on the cabinet, because I have some light boards hanging, and until I get them tucked up inside the cabinet, I don't want them rubbing against the new scenery. So the next thing I'll be doing is putting the scenery in, or putting the door on, then the scenery. All right, so we're at a good stage here. We got the door ready, almost ready to go on, and this thing is almost turning the corner to being finished here. It's probably 90% done. I still have, you know, the coin up and working out any bugs and that kind of stuff. I have the copter boom to put on the Playfield and the copter body, and I have to do the wiring through all that. So still a little bit of work to do, but we're getting real close on this one, so it won't be long now. Okay, so we got the back door installed. And let me open it up here. So I have the scenery to put on the back there, and I have this wiring to tidy up. That's for the light for the Playfield, but everything, all the other wiring's done. So making some good progress today. So let me get the scenery on and that connector on that wiring done, and I'll show you the result when that's finished. Okay, just finished connecting the fluorescent light bulb. So I got the connector on there, and we have the scenery on the back door. So the only thing left now is to put the boom on the Playfield and set the helicopter and wire that all up. And then when the front glass gets replaced with the new one I got and the corner trim put on. Other than that, it's almost ready for first coin up. Probably can't see much with the reflection, but there's the front view with the scenery installed. Now that it's back in its hole, there's a little less reflection, so that's what it looks like at this stage right now. So let's get the copter going. Okay, we have the new glass ready to install. So we're gonna put that in the cabinet and get the trim on, and I'll show you that when it's done. Okay, so we have it set and ready to put the chrome trim on. So we're gonna do that right now. And we have the front glass installed and the corner trim on. A little tricky to do by yourself, but looks really good. All right, so I'm gonna move on to installing the helicopter on the Playfield, and that is the last thing to do other than to coin up and working out any bugs. So let's continue on and try to knock this out. I'm now working on, I got the boom for the helicopter installed, and I just have to do the wiring now, and I can put the cover back on. So and then of course I got to do the copter and the counterweight. Counterweight's here ready to go. So let me get a little bit more done and I'll catch up. Okay, a little more progress here. I got the boom wired, and I'm ready to set the helicopter in and the boom weight that goes on the end here. So that's what we're gonna do next. Okay, before installing the copter body, I am testing the motor. It's been rebuilt, but I haven't tested it yet. So I have it hooked up to the proper voltage, and let's light it up and see what we got here. Yep, that's good. I don't want to leave it on too long because it might, you can see it's unstable there. I don't want to break that brand new NOS prop, so. Okay, so it's good to go. We can put that in the copter body and put it in the Playfield. Okay, so we are in the process of mounting the helicopter to the boom on the Playfield. So we're halfway there. Let's get it done. Okay, we have the copter mounted to the Playfield. So the Playfield is finished, ready to go back in the game. Here's a look at it. Got the counterweight on the boom also. It's not fully adjusted yet. I still have to tighten up that cinch nut. So that was a lot of work. It doesn't look like it should be, but that was a lot of work. And I have the Playfield set in the cabinet. It's ready for first coin up. I'm not going to do it right now. I want to end today on a victory. So a lot of times when you coin it up, there's all kinds of problems. I don't want to ruin the day because we got a lot done here and want to end it on a positive note. I don't want to be depressed the rest of the evening, so looks really good. Can't wait to fire it up and play it. But I'll follow up, I'll do the first coin up on film so you can witness it the same as me. Okay, so we're gonna add some power to it and see what we got. Okay, we got some life. Let me grab a dime. We'll coin it up. Okay, here we go. We're going to drop the dime. Okay. Okay, so we got good sound. The propeller's not turning, and it is scoring. I've already had this on, so I already messed with it and put the whiskers on the targets, and it does score. But I gotta figure out, that's why it's partially disassembled at the tower. I gotta figure out why the motor isn't getting power. So it could be, I have the, let me take this off here. I have the cover off the control box. There's a rheostat in there that sends the power, so I got to do some testing in there and see what's causing it. It could be the connector here too, so I'm just gonna replace that with new. And I normally do that anyway, but I was gonna do that last, so that could be part of the problem. So at least we have life. I don't think it's too far off. So the big thing is the scoring reels reset to 0 when you coin it up, and the timer, of course you can see there, it ran its course and game over now. And the scoring unit is working. It scores when you hit the target, so we're not too far off. A little bit more work here, working out some bugs. This is normal, so we'll work out the bugs and then it'll be up and running in no time. Okay, so I did some work inside the control box. I rebuilt that connector I was talking about, and that ended up fixing one thing. And while I was in there, the power for the motor on the helicopter, the wire came off. I have no idea how that happened, but I was lucky to find it because, you know, it would have been easy to overlook since, you know, it was a brand new wire. So I'm like, no reason to check that. So it fell off, so it wasn't completing the circuit for the copter motor. So let's coin it up and I'll show you what the motor does now. I still don't have the tower connected, you know, for the forward and backward motion. So it's just going to go backwards for now. So that's good to make some progress on that. So we're looking good here. A couple more things to fix and she'll be done.